Okay, this is in reference to the double homicide with Bruce and Sharon Williams that occurred on the 26th. You notice I handed out a little brief synopsis of what occurred. We're going to read over this, and then we're going to try to answer any questions that I'm going to be allowed to answer. So we do this, you know, on the 26th of January, Bruce and Sharon Williams were found in their homes deceased. It was called in as a medical emergency. One of the daughters found her dad in the dining room area. She called 911 and we responded. When I responded to the scene, then I noticed that this was not just a rugged medical situation, and we found Bruce Williams on the bottom floor, on the first floor in the dining room area. Cleared the house, went to the second floor because someone had specified that they didn't know where Sharon was either. Went upstairs, found Sharon in the hallway. She was also deceased. During the autopsy, we found that both Sharon and Bruce had multiple gunshot wounds to their head, and this is what the cause of death was, the gunshot wounds. We feel that this possibly took place Tuesday night. Some evidence that we accumulated, and possibly that Sharon was the first one that had been killed, and then the subject waited until Bruce, which was at work, came home from work. Bruce Williams was in the kitchen area when he shot Bruce. Then he drug him into the dining room area, which is connected to the kitchen, and then that's what went on from there. It does appear that after death, part of the victim's body had been mutilated. Sharon Williams and Bruce Williams. Sharon was in the upper torso area of her body was cut, and then the lower area on Bruce Williams, his private area, was also cut. I'd rather not go into details about the mutilation part, if y'all don't mind. Also, during the course of the investigation, we found that Wade Williams, the son of Bruce and Sharon Williams, was missing, and the truck that belonged to Bruce Williams was also gone. Wade Williams had been seen that morning in Marietta, Florida, around 6:45. He went to his sister's house. He left there, went to the grocery outlet, bought a few canned good items. He was witness there also, and then he left. Then around 10 a.m., he went to Pate's Outfitters, which is on 90, just on the west end of my city, and he bought some ammunition and some other items. He was also, some of the people there noticed that he was wearing some camouflage gear, and that he had some camping gear in the vehicle with him. The next day, on the 27th, that Thursday morning, some hunters located a vehicle that was on fire at the time. It was burning, and that vehicle was belonged to Bruce Williams. This was in Holmes County at the wildlife area over there in Holmes County. And during this time, during the course of the investigation, Wade Williams became our primary suspect in the murder of Bruce and Sharon Williams. We have no indications that another person was involved. All the indications show possibly one person. But until DNA and other evidence that we have comes back, we're not going to close this case until I can be positive that no one else could have been involved. So the various parts of the case will not be discussed. Let's open the floor to any questions at this time.
You have a possible motive, that maybe the sister maybe came forward with some information with...
No, we've checked in every way possible. We've talked to the family members. We've talked to a couple of people that actually knew him. The motive, we have no idea what the motive could have been. None at all. There's nothing leading up to the incident that even gave us a clear motive to it. We're just unknown.
Is there any indication that Mr. Williams was using any kind of drugs?
Only thing that we knew of, the only thing I knew of that he did, he was becoming an alcoholic, and that's the only thing I know of. Any other type of narcotics we're unaware of at this time.
Would you classify the mutilation as sexual in nature?
You would have to really let a profiler or someone to that respect look at that, and probably we will send that information to someone and see if they can give us an idea why that occurred. Because right now I have no idea.
When he visited his sister's house the next morning, did he give any indication to her that anything was out of character?
He brought her a set of keys from the house, spare keys to her car, which spare keys stayed at her mother's house. She didn't really think much of it. Then he left. She was getting kids ready to go to school and taking them to school, so they didn't stay long. Yes,
was this the same sister that went to the house and found him?
Yes. It was the one that they had called her that afternoon because Sharon and Bruce had not showed up for work, so she went to the house and she found him.
What kind of weapon was used in the shooting?
Huh?
What kind of weapon was used?
It was a 22 caliber.
Going back to the search, is there any indication, looking back on, do you think he left the area where they started searching, even went up and out?
No, he never left the area. Never left the area at all.
Who was the gun registered?
I have no idea this time. FDLE, that part, when they captured him and the shooting occurred there in the forest area, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement handled the shooting incident, so they have the weapons. I have no idea about that at this time.
So it was the same weapon he used?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
That's going to be sent to the lab, and they will try to verify if it possibly is the same weapon or not.
What weapons did he have on him when he was found at the campsite or when on the last day?
Yeah, you'll need to direct that to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. That's what they're handling there.
Can you define multiple gunshots? How many?
I would just say several.
Yeah. So I'd like to keep that just to myself, just in case anything else comes up about it.
I think the purpose of this interview today really was to let the public know that, the case is somewhat resolved as best you can at this point. There are some issues to be resolved. He said, topology of different issues that may come back from the medical examiner's report, and that could be some time. I know the public is certainly concerned about their safety and where this case was going if there were other people involved, and I think what the chief was hoping to accomplish today maybe is to put some closure for the community and for the family. The family's been through a lot, and then it's just something they had not anticipated, and it's something that hopefully with the support of the family, other family members of the community, they'll get through this.
See, the family was actually worried about me doing this press conference too. So, but I told him, eventually, we have to let the news media and the public know what we do know and what we can actually tell them. So, and like I said, all indications indicate possibly just one person involved in this, and we don't. But once you get your mind set on one thing, you end up sometimes, comes back and bites you. So you don't never rule out anything.
Was there any, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Was there any other indication that there was any sexual assault?
Nothing was, at this time. They did do a sexual assault kit at the medical examiner, and it was sent to the lab, so we have to wait until that information comes back.
Was there any indication that there was a struggle, as if they...
No struggle.
Were the bodies recovered in their entirety?
Yes. Yes.
Chief, were the
shot his parents with a .22 gun, apparently,
That's what it appears, it was a .22 caliber weapon.
pistol.
We have no idea at this time.
You don't have that?
I mean, we don't know what the weapon was used. The weapon that was recovered at the scene in the forest has been sent to the lab, and we'll determine if that was the weapon used to kill them or not.
Might have been a pistol, might have been a rifle.
It could have been either one. We just don't know yet until they compare those two to see if that was the same weapon.
But they were both killed in that manner,
Correct.
with the gunshots to the head?
Yes, gunshots to the head, no other areas.
What other evidence are you waiting on from the lab?
DNA and latent.
DNA?
DNA and latent prints.
And the ballistics.
In the ballistics, yeah.
It takes quite a bit of time for the evidence to be processed as far as DNA goes.
The lab gave me several weeks, is what they specified to me.
There are a number of weapons recovered with him. Is that the case?
Like I say, you're gonna have to direct that to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. I will not get into that situation. That's their case, and I don't wanna say anything that, you know, to go beyond that.
You just say that firearms were recovered.
Yeah, there were some recovered, yes, you can specify.
Chief or Sheriff, would y'all talk about how the investigation unfolded in the multi-agencies and states of how everything flowed?
Well, yeah, and I think Mr. Hess being here at his office was very instrumental in helping us in some of this preparation, some of this stuff. Wouldn't you say, Sheriff?
Yes, going through him, Shad came out that night, which is one of his assistant state attorneys in the Marion office. He came out, and if we had any legal questions, we could ask him at that time period. And also days after that, he was also a big help. We had the Jackson County Sheriff's Department since I have such a small department, they've been a great asset to me. I couldn't do it without them, I'm telling you guys right now. And then we had other agencies, Holmes County Sheriff's Department, Dothan PD, Walton County Sheriff's Department, the Chipley Police Department, Bay County Sheriff's Department, Henry County Sheriff's Department, the Florida Wildlife Commission also. I mean, there was just, especially in the search of the area in Holmes County, they were just, you know, tremendous asset to us, resource-wise too.
And of course, as you're aware, the colonel who gave his life in trying to apprehend this individual, his agency was well represented as far as the K-9 teams go.
We had probably K-9 teams from Jackson County and from Holmes County involved in this.
It was a very, very large multi-agency discipline. It involved a lot of different departments, a lot of cooperation from everybody working together to try to resolve this case.
The amount of people we had to talk to, each department, mine and the sheriff's department, every investigator was involved due to the amount of people we had to talk to try to get statements from. So, you know, everybody was busy during this time period.
Mr. Hess, did you want to add anything to it?
Yeah, it's very sad that it turned out this way. Our office will be doing an officer-involved shooting and a homicide in that regard, but that's long after all the questions that you've been asking will be answered.
Collectively, you all have a lot of years in law enforcement. How does the scene that played out in that house compare to scenes that you've seen in the past?
I've investigated several murders before. This one is beyond what I've seen. Okay? Personally, it affects me I have to relate to it every day because I have to go home and see it every day. So this is something I've never really dealt with in reference to that type of activity. You know.
Well, I don't think you can compare one homicide to another really, because the people that are impacted are, you know, that's firsthand for them. So I really don't think you can compare one to the other. A death is a death. As the chief said, he lives next door to the crime scene, and that's something he'll be reminded of every day. It's a small town. Everybody kind of looks out for everybody else. So I think you'll find that it will certainly make an impact in the community, something of this nature.
Any other questions?
When the sister originally called in the paramedics, she reported that it was just a medical condition, or?
Well, she just saw her father laying on the floor. She didn't try to go to him or try to do anything with him. He was just laying on the floor. She automatically backed out and called 911. That's what she did.
So over time, it seemed like it took a little while for Wade to transition from a person of interest to a suspect. I was just curious, was the family did they step up for Wade? Were they very defensive for Wade?
I won't get into that part. No, there was, they just wanted answers is what the deal was. They was having to deal with a grief that all of a sudden come about, besides knowing that both parents had died, and then they found out that they were murdered. They had tons of questions which we still cannot answer, and I think they understand now, the full gravity of what's going on.
What's it gonna take, I guess, for you to 100% name Wade Williams?
When there's certain evidence that I've got comes back, then I'll name him. But he's our primary source. I mean, he's our primary person of interest, no matter what, probably. I doubt, but there's just certain things we don't know. Ballistics.
On the abundance of caution, I think you would find that this is the path he has to go, and while he doesn't anticipate any surprises, we still got to be somewhat reserved as far as absolutely making a 100% statement.
Was there any history between Wade and his parents of problems?
Not that I'm aware of.
Were the bodies covered?
Mr. Williams' body was covered, and Sharon's, she was face down, and some of her clothing was put over her head.
How long before Bruce was killed do you think Sharon?
We have no idea about that. I mean, that'd be up to the medical examiner trying to make a determination, and I probably really couldn't, make a real good determination on if it was just before Wade came home. Bruce came home, or really unknown.
Had Bruce been at work?
Yes, he had been at work.
Did they both work the evening shift? Didn't
Normally,
Sharon work 3 to 11?
yeah, she worked 3 to 11, but she didn't work that day.
Oh, okay, she was off.
Yeah, she was off that day. We do know sometime around 6:30 that some of the kids had talked to her, so it was sometime after that time period. Yes, there was some items that were taken from the home, possibly coins, that type items, nothing major, just a few coins that had been in a lockbox that had been pried open and taken.
I had heard that Wade had tried to cash a check with one of their IDs.
No, not with an ID.
Okay.
They had all their ID and everything with them. Nothing was taken from the house or from them.
So the only thing taken were coins?
Yeah.
Did you find those when you got away?
No, he had spent those. That's what he was using to purchase some canned goods and other stuff. He was using coins that he had collected from the home.
What kind of coins?
It was quarters. It was the state set, all the states.
And he was just using those as currency?
Yeah.
And he was just...
Yeah, I mean, that's what he was using to purchase whatever he would get over.
Some of these questions we'll never know the answers to. It's unfortunate that we wouldn't have an opportunity to talk to him, but I think you can tell by his actions that he had no intention of discussing this with law enforcement or anyone else. Obviously, he wouldn't have taken the actions that he's done. So, I personally want to thank the family for their cooperation in this, and they've been through a lot. And we hope that this gives them some closure.
How about closure for you?
For me,
You knew them. How you holding up?
I'm doing okay. Just had to keep working the case. That's all you gotta do. You don't let it, you know, it gets to you for a little bit there. You wished you could have caught him sooner before the officer had to die in this case. But, I just had to keep working the case and go on.
And you know, in that situation, again, we want to make sure that we keep the family of that officer in our thoughts, because as you're aware, we had another officer killed in the state of Florida. I think that may be to 12 this year. It's a busy time of the year. It's an active time in Florida, and unfortunately, we've lost a lot of law enforcement already this year, and I hope that's not what's to indicate for the rest of the year.
Any other questions? I just wish to thank each and every one of you for being patient with me. I know sometimes I'm not the most agreeable person to get along with, but I appreciate it.